Hey, crappie fishermen have long known that you often can change colors of crappie baits and extend the catching success on a particular spot or on a particular outing. And you know, with the new technology in sonar now, and being able to watch how fish are reacting to different baits throughout the day has also shown how important bait profile is. So today, when you might change colors and the fish don't cooperate, you might think about changing body style as well. Now in the Bobby Garland product lineup, we have 6 body styles that have very different profiles. I've called on a couple of my good fishing buddies that are very knowledgeable about the sport, the species, and the product line to help me explain these to you and help you catch more fish.
There's certain ways that when we designed these lures, like the Baby Shad Swimmer, we started out with a regular Baby Shad, and the Baby Shad was just a little lure that had a straight tail, and that little tail, as it jiggles, you can't hold it still, but it works best when you're fishing it straight down. So the stiller you're trying to hold your rod, the more that little tail's shaking, the more bites you get. But I took it one step farther. I put this little tail, paddle tail, on the end of it. Exact same Baby Shad, same size, everything about it. I just did a few extra things to it. We put a little cut in the tail right here, so to make it a little more wiggle out of the tail as I'm pulling it. I put a little slot in the bottom to put some scent in, to hold some scent, so we could put some slab jam in it. Then I put this little paddle on the back of this thing. The little paddle on the back of the tail of the Baby Shad, we squared this paddle off and made it where it sits exactly perpendicular up and down to catch the most amount of water. And water pressures is what causes all of your lures to work underwater. So by designing this thing so it sits straight up and down, squaring the little tails off more, and making it where it doesn't slope out so much like a traditional baby or sassy shad make, where it comes out and makes a square corner coming out to the paddle, it makes it catch more water. So there it made it work at a really slow speed. And this little tiny paddle on the back of this thing, if you move that the slightest bit in the water, that little paddle is just dragging like crazy. It's sitting on it. So that's what I did with the Baby Shad Swimmer. That helps on that. And probably my favorite lure right now is called the Slab Hunter. Seems like now this has become my go-to lure because I catch just as many fish as I do on the Baby Shad Swimmer. It seems like I catch bigger fish, more bigger fish on this thing. This thing has a double paddle on the bottom of it. So now it gets a back and forth swimming action, and it has a fish shape. We put some little ribs on the bottom so that as it comes over a limb, it gets a little vibration. These ribs catch water to send out vibration as it's coming through the water. And this thing works best, like I said, as it's swimming. So this is a fantastic lure if you're in any kind of current out there at all, or if you're just cast it out. And even on casting, it doesn't have to be out a long way. Sometimes I only cast it out there 10 feet, let it go down and let it swim back to me. If you're under a dock or something like that and you're in a boat slip, I will cast it out there 10 feet out there, let it go down, and then just work it back to me, swim back to me. 90% of your bite's going to come while it's moving back to you because of that tail action that it's getting. And then as it comes in, it stops, then you kind of got a little jig and right underneath you. It's just a perfect act. We use this a lot for the guys that are doing the long lining and the pulling the jigs and stuff. This thing works perfect, and it works at a slow speed, probably less than a mile an hour.
The Slab Slayer is a really popular series for us. It has a cupped tail, solid body. So the solid body holds that head extremely well. Comes in a 2 and a 3 inch size. This is the 3 inch that I'm holding here, but you know, even trying to hold that tail perfectly still, it's constantly moving. And what's unique about this bait, if you rig it one way with the cup side down like I have it facing here, it becomes more of a vertical jigging bait because as it falls, that tail's flapping. Now watch what happens when I turn it over. Notice how it straightens that tail up? So now the convex surface is underneath and it makes it more of a gliding bait. So you rig it with the hook coming up and the cup facing up, then you have more of a gliding bait out of the Slab Slayer. The STROLL'R features the Bobby Garland Baby Shad body, and it has a special really big thumping kicking tail on it. Now this was designed primarily for trolling and casting. The long liners, this is by far the most preferred long lining bait that is used for trolling for crappie out there. The spider riggers like it. The long liners especially like it because it has so much kick A lot of vibration, a lot of noise from that thumping tail as you pull it. And in this particular item, we're able to have body tail color combinations as well as laminates as well as solids. So you have 3 types of color variations to look for in the Bobby Garland STROLL'R.
Crappie shooter, originally designed for dock shooting, but this bait also works extremely well on any kind of structure in the lake as a jigging bait. Whether you throw it out and drag it back or jig it straight up and down, the way that thing is designed to be rigged up flat, it falls crazy. One way it'll fall in a circle. It's got a concave bottom on one side that makes it fall in a circle, and if you turn it over and hook it on the other side, it falls more side to side. Either way, the way it's designed, it mimics a dying bait fish, and crappie really like that. And I've caught crappie from 6 inches all the way up to 2 pounds on it, and quite a few of them. It's really a unique bait, and very few people use it at this purpose for fishing in brush or around stumps, any kind of structure other than boat docks. It comes in several different colors. The colors I've been using mostly is monkey milk and glacier and Cajun cricket. And Cajun cricket is a completely different color than the other 2, which are mostly white colored. This Cajun cricket is green and orange, and they've been hit, all 3 of them, really well. I use it mainly on 4 to 6, 8 pound test monofilament. I have used it on braid, and it still works fairly well, but the braid makes it fall a little bit different than what the monofilament does. And mostly a 1/32 ounce head that with a sickle hook, get that bait all the way to the head, but your hook does not go all the way to the tail of them short baits.
Another really cool bait is the Bobby Garland Pile Diver. Now it's called a pile diver because this particular bait was designed specifically for fishing in and around brush piles. Everybody knows that brush piles are a crappie magnet, and this bait is designed to fish those effectively, and it's probably one of the most versatile baits that we have in the Bobby Garland product lineup because, as you can see, it's got a lot of features to it. First of all, it has a solid body. The body does have ribs on it, and then you've got 2 little stubby arms on either side, and then you've got long twin tail legs. Now, if you look at the little stubby arms, each of those has a little swim foot on it. And contrary to what you might think, you see that the foot is facing inward instead of away, because you want that to separate, but you also want it to stay close to the body and vibrate frequently. Now, the swim tail itself, you can see that at rest is pretty much a heart shape, but they're long, thin, streamer-like legs that also have the little foot on the tip of them also. So they've got a real good, easy swimming action to them. Now the ribs on the body will provide more vibration to the bait, and especially when it comes into contact with one of those limbs on that brush pile or some other type of structure, whether it's a rock or stump or whatever it might be. But all in all, this profile will take on a lot of different shapes. When it's swimming, it's very elongated. When it's at rest, it's very compact and bulky because those tails will come together and sit at rest like this. And if you're vertical jigging it, obviously it's changing the action dramatically on it. But the profile overall is quite different than the other Bobby Garland crappie baits, so it adds to that whole option to give you something else to do. And everybody knows that crappie and all species like little twin tail grubs, so this is a great option in that respect also. And obviously when you change heads on it, you're going to change the action of each one of these little appendages on here. The heavier the weight, the faster it's going to move, the more the little legs on the back are going to kick. The lighter the head, the slower it's going to fall, and the less these little legs are going to move. And again, I've had really good success on this thing, just holding it perfectly still over a brush pile or underneath the dock where that thing just kind of folds back up. And that big bulky profile is hard for a lot of crappie to resist. So the pile diver might just be another good profile option for you.